Hello friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. Welcome to additional Bible study, where we are focused on catching up on any of the New Testament chapters needed to make it so that when we get to the end of this year, we have completed the entire New Testament in the NIV. So we can do the Old Testament videos in the NIV at the start of next year, and then at the start of 2026 will be in the KJV. So there's no way to make it move any quicker than sitting there and reading the word. So let's get into the word. Matthew chapter 2 verse 1, and we are just going to do all of chapter 2 today, which will take us to verse, it looks like 24. So let's jump in. The visit of the Magi. Now we're back in Matthew's taken us all the way back to the beginning and given us the genealogy. Now it's important. I know that a lot of people, I love genealogy. Okay, so it's one of my hobbies that I have a lot of things. So a lot of people have a hard time with the genealogy in the Bible, both Old Testament, New Testament. They don't understand why it matters. So firstly, these are clan-based people. So what family you come from decides what work you're allowed to do for a living. So that's first. Because remember, there's no formal education system going on here. We're in AD. Okay? So whether or not Matthew was born in BC or AD, I don't know. Was he born before Jesus or not? I don't know. Because we don't know who's older there. He was working as a tax collector. On The Chosen, they make him come off like he's a little autistic. I don't know if that's valid or not, but very detail-orientated based upon how he's written. And it's important because Jesus, in his entire existence, is in fulfillment with the scriptures. Now, that comes from the Torah, or we have books of that in the Old Testament of the Bible. They describe things. So Jesus would not be the Messiah if he was not a descendant of Jesse. He would be a really good rabbi. But according to the Jewish people, he couldn't be the Messiah because the Messiah promised came from the line of Jesse. The prophets are who they're talking about when they say in fulfillment of the scriptures. Now, I would also like to note that the prophets are who Jesus is quoting, and Jesus thinks the prophets are important. And why we, in today's modern society, has decided the prophets aren't important when Jesus decided they were important is confusing to me, which is part of why I read them. The visit of the Magi, chapter 2, verse 1. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem, in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi, 8, that is, let's see, we're at parable, what? E, or wise men. All right, so yeah, that's how we refer to them anyway when we're telling the stories. The Magi, or the wise men, in case anybody didn't know, from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who was born the King of the Jews? We saw his star in the east." We saw in the Star Wars. Star Rose. It's kind of Star Wars going up there, because there was a whole battle up there, right? Jesus says so. That's when Satan got thrown out. So there was a battle up in heaven there. Their own version of Star Wars. We saw his star in the east and have come to worship him. It's true here. When Herod heard this, he was disturbed. When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all of Jerusalem with him. When he had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Christ was to be born, or Messiah. "In Bethlehem, in Judah," they replied. For this is what the prophet has written. "But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler, who will be a shepherd of all my people Israel. That's Micah 5:2. prophet. Okay? Prophets predicted Jesus. If you want to prove he was in fulfillment with the scriptures, you have to know the scriptures, and they don't just mean the New Testament. Then Herod, verse 7. Herod Agrippa, or King Herod, I should say. I'm not sure if his last name was Agrippa. I think it was. Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and make a careful search for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me, so that I may too go and worship him." Trying to act like he's not afraid that he's about to be usurped in some way. After they had heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen in the east, or seen when it rose, went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold and of incense and of myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. So they came from the east of Jerusalem. So you have to take a look at what that means. Egypt was east. The rest of the Middle East was east of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is, Israel is on a coast. They're close to a water. So it's that way if it's east. The escape to Egypt. Verse 13. When they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. "Get up," he said. "Take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." And you can't trick God. He sees all our thoughts, hears them, feels all of our feelings. Our intention is plain to him. So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. So you have to think about what that means. You can go through in history and find out when King Herod, died. That's a searchable fact. So about 4 BCE. And so he was fulfilled what the Lord had said through the prophet. "Out of Egypt I called my son." Hosea 11:1. When Herod realized that he had been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious. And he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and in its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned from the Magi. Then what he said through the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. "A voice heard in Ramah, weeping, a great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no more." Jeremiah 31:15. The return to Nazareth. After Herod died, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt. An angel of the Lord seems to like to appear to Joseph in dreams. It's not the first time. We're in time at least 3 here. And said, "Get up, take the child and his mother and go to the land of Israel. For those who were trying to take the child's life are dead." So he got up and took the child and his mother and went to the land of Israel. When he had heard that Archelaus was reigning in Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. Having been warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. And he went and lived in a town called Nazareth. So he was fulfilled when he said through the prophets, he will be called a Nazarene. So there is Nazareth, and there's Nazarenes, and then there's this thing called the Nazarite vow, in which there are specific things, including not cutting your hair, and that would explain why we always saw Jesus with long hair. because it was part of a sanctification process if you were not born a Levite. Plus, he was in Nazareth. So he will be a Nazarene on all kinds of levels. Until the next video, friends.